Selection Sunday, so we were on the air. It was just a blast. The excitement of Selection Sunday never disappoints. It's fascinating to see where the teams line up, if some of the good teams are seated lower, if some of the teams that maybe didn't do so well are seated higher. We again saw that this year.
So did you immediately fill out your bracket, or did you research and marinate?
Well, I'm one of those guys, Jay, that does like 5 different brackets. So I sat there Sunday night and I did probably 2 of them. And then later in the week, I did a couple more after I kind of did some research. So it's fun to kind of pick and choose different teams and see how your different brackets score come April.
Oh, absolutely. Now, for me, I was glued to the TV, and immediately after, I filled it out. But I do the same thing every year. I fill it out on gut hunch, whatever speaks to me at that point in time. And I got to tell you, I've done pretty well in years past. That being said, do you know why they call it March Madness?
I actually do not know that. Do you, Jay?
I do. And this gives me an opportunity to tell you. The term March Madness dates all the way back to 1939. Apparently, an Illinois high school basketball official by the name of Henry Porter said this in an Illinois high school athlete magazine. Quote, "A little March Madness may complement and contribute to sanity and help keep society on an even keel." And of course, you know, in 1939, we were on the verge of participating in the Second World War, and there was all kinds of horrific nonsense going on all over the world. There was a Great Depression. So he called this a contribution to sanity. Now, the second part of this didn't happen until 1982. Do you remember a guy by the name of Brent Musburger?
Of course.
Famed CBS broadcaster, and in that year he covered the tournament, and he claims, this is Musburger claiming, he got the term from a car dealership commercial he saw while broadcasting the Illinois State High School basketball tournament, and he just used it during those games, and then when he went to CBS, he brought it with him. That's why we call it March Madness.
I love it. I think what's so great about that is we see year in and year out the madness of the lower seeds beating the higher seeds in the tournament. And that's my favorite part about it.
The other thing that I find agonizing, and I'm sure you do as well, is teams that you thought should have been invited to the dance that were not. So let's talk about 2 teams. First, the Dayton Flyers. The Dayton Flyers went into the Atlantic 10 tournament ranked 3rd. They played St. Joseph, which was ranked 6th, and they lost in overtime. Tell me a little bit about what cost them that game, because it looked like in the second quarter they had battled back and were looking pretty even until the very end.
You know, it's been a consistent theme with the Dayton Flyers all season long. They have a stretch of a few good weeks where they win 2, 3, 4 games, and they play really good basketball during that time. And then it seems like every now and then they have one game where all of that comes crashing down, and they look like a completely different team than what they're capable of being. So, and that occurred in the Friday night quarterfinal game, like you said, Jay, against St. Joe's. Free throws have been the Flyers' kryptonite for the longest time, and that reared its ugly head again when the Flyers had a chance in the final minute. They were up 2, and they had a shot at the 1-and-1. They missed the front end. St. Joe's gets fouled. They make 2 free throws, and then we go to overtime, tied at 60, and St. Joe's was just the better team in the overtime period. That's what's fascinating about not only March Madness, but before that, the conference tournaments. It's really March Madness starts in February and early March when you get down to the last 2 weeks in these conference tournaments.
And you look at that game specifically, and they were outscored 33-24 in the first half, but then they turned up the gas and outscored St. Joseph 36-27 in the half. But in looking at the number of minutes that Nate Santos and Enoch Cheeks and Javon Bennett played, do you think that they simply ran out of gas? Because that's a lot of time on the court.
Yeah, it's very possible. I think what happened, Jay, if I'm being honest with you, you mentioned those numbers in the first half. They just, I think, dug themselves too deep of a hole and really didn't give themselves enough time to get out of it. Because, in my opinion, I think Dayton Flyers play the best with a lead. And when they don't get that lead early in the contest, they tend to struggle a little bit, kind of take control of the game.
Now, Akron was expected to be in the tournament, and of course, they made it to the tournament. But Ohio State was was a head scratcher. Was Ohio State a bad omission, or did they deserve not to be in the tournament?
See, I struggle with this one because you could argue both ways for this. As we know, Jay, the committee that decides the NCAA bracket loves their blue bloods. And those blue bloods teams are, of course, your Dukes, your North Carolinas, your Michigan States, and your others. They want storylines, and I understand that. But a team like Ohio State, who had an impressive year, despite some of the setbacks they've had in the conference, they got beat up in their conference play. But when you have, almost 30 teams in your conference, you're bound to get beat up in conference play.
And also the fact that no team has ever landed an at-large bid at just 2 games over 500. And, of course, the Buckeyes finished 17-15. Now, the OSU women are playing Montana State in the tournament. They rank 4th going into the tournament. But you talk about head-scratchers and teams that are there because of past performance. Bill Self's Kansas Jayhawks had a horrible season, probably the worst in his tenure, yet there they are.
Yeah, again, this is one of your blue blood programs. Kansas certainly has a tough path to get to the Final Four if that's their intended goal.
Well, you and I are going to have another conversation the week after the national championship, which will be the 7th of April, and then we can get into the weeds on who did what to who because we don't want to give anything away. There's more Ohio Sports Magazine straight ahead on the Ohio News Network.
I hope you're ready for all the Jackets talk you can handle. Join us Wednesday night at 7 for the Inside Edge.
Sponsored by Visit Central Florida. Discover the real Florida magic at visitcentralflorida.com.
The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 6-ounce packages of fresh raspberries or blackberries are on sale for $1.88 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Something is wrong.
Something's wrong?
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Thumping and bumping and jumping.
What is?
But it's not pumping.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry?
Yeah, Aaron.
Are we talking about your sump pump?
Yeah, isn't it great?
Isn't what great?
I like the sound of it. Sump pump. Sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, can you keep a secret?
Aaron, I'm as silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
I kind of like to say it too.
Hey, I should invent a sump pump that lets you know when it's working.
How would it do that?
It would say, sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
It's a great idea, Jerry, but a sump pump should be exactly like you.
How so?
As silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Sealbest White Elastomeric Roof Coating stops leaks and revives aged, flat, and metal roofs. It reflects the sun's heat to help you save on energy costs. And it's easy to apply with a brush, roller, or sprayer. Shop our entire selection of Sealbest products today on Menards.com. Plus, check our weekly flyer for all of the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Within 15 seconds of logging onto social media, the algorithm has your daughter in its crosshairs. It sends her a steady flow of images telling her she isn't thin enough, pretty enough. They invade her brain, causing body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, leading to the worst rates of eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide we have ever known. All while she's sitting right next to you on her phone. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Don't let her suffer the secret pain alone. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate, protectingkidsonline.org, because it's up to you to protect your children from social media nightmares. Join us for her, for your daughter.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
The Dayton Dragons are considered to be one of the most successful minor league baseball organizations in the entire country. They are a high A affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, playing in the Midwest League, and they've been part of the Reds organization since 1999. They play their home games at Day Air Ballpark. Tom Nichols is the Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for the team and joins us now on Ohio Sports Magazine. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me today.
It's our pleasure. You ready to play ball?
We're getting there. We've got some work to do, so I get that question all the time. Are you guys ready for opening day? And the honest answer is not yet, but we will be when it gets here, I think. We've been through this a few times, and there's a lot to do, but it'll get here, and we'll be ready for it.
All right, the Dayton Dragons have the longest sellout streak in North American pro sports history. 1,573 games since 2000 when Day Air Ballpark opened its doors. Is that the reason why the team is considered to be one of the most successful teams in the country?
Well, I guess the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So that's probably what we're known best for, quite honestly, because of the fact that we did break the record, which was held by the Portland Trail Blazers. They had 814, and we broke the record in 2011 when we reached number 815. That was a special night for us. We had two of our part owners at that time were Archie Griffin and Magic Johnson. They were both at the game that night. We had George Foster here that night. We had three Reds players fly in on a helicopter right after their game ended in Cincinnati. They came up to Dayton via helicopter, landed on the plaza, came in. We stopped the game. They spoke to the crowd. That was Drew Stubbs, Chris Heisey, and Logan Ondrusek. That was all 2011. So we've kept the streak going, and we expect to keep it going through this year as well. So it's an exciting time for us. We've had a proud history. We've had 149 Dragons players reach the major leagues. We're heading into our 25th season, so we've got a lot of special things planned this year as well.
So the team was recently sold to Diamond Baseball Holdings, which owns 41 other minor league clubs, including the Reds AAA affiliate, the Louisville Bats. With all the success that the team had, what precipitated the sale?
That's a question that's outside of my area of expertise. That's a business matter, and I'm the broadcaster for the team. They tell me when the games start, and I broadcast the games. Anything related to the sale of the team, I wouldn't have anything that I could help you with. But I do know we've got a new owner. As you mentioned, Diamond Baseball Holdings, they now own 42 of the 120 minor league teams across the U.S., and we'll go forward.
I think it's also helpful that they own the AAA affiliate.
in the minor leagues, the one big difference is you're playing to develop players. So the goal is to develop future Reds players sometime down the road, and many of them have come through here. Names like Joey Votto and Jay Bruce and Todd Frazier, and the list goes on and on. Ellie De La Cruz all came through here. But the Reds make those decisions on who plays and when it's time to move them up.
What is 2025 shaping up to look like for the team this year?
Good question. And it's a complicated answer. The Reds do have at this point about 180 minor league players out in Arizona going through the spring training process. So just like the major league team is trying to cut down to 26 opening day players on their roster, the Reds are looking at the minor league group and trying to decide who goes where. So a group of guys will go to, as you mentioned, AAA Louisville. A group will go to AA Chattanooga. A group will come here. A group will go to Daytona, which is single A. We're considered high A. And another group will stay in Arizona and begin the rookie league season in May. That would be the bottom echelon of talent. So once we get to the end of spring training, the rosters will be established, and we'll get our team. We can, at this point, we have an idea maybe of who likely will come here, because simply looking at the team one level below us on the ladder, which last year was Daytona, we can look at some of their better players and say, okay, he'll move up a level and come to Dayton. It's not like a college team where 2 months before the season starts what your team's going to look like. The Reds will make those decisions out in Arizona in spring training in the next couple of weeks, and then by the time we start our season in April, we'll have our team. So at that point, I would be able to give you a better answer, but we're still trying to decide who's coming where, and that'll be a decision, again, that the Reds make over the next few weeks, and some of that will be dictated by who makes the major league club. So the players who don't wind up on that 26-man big league roster are going to go somewhere in the minor leagues, and sometimes there's a trickle-down effect. So a guy goes to AAA, that bumps somebody down to AA, which then bumps somebody down to us. That's the way the whole thing transpires. So the person that's in charge of all that, it was Jeremy Farrell. He is going to have a complicated job ahead of him to fill out all of those minor league rosters and try to balance them and make sure every club is as strong as they can be. But that's part of his job, and he does it every year. Now, this being the 25th anniversary, if we're lucky enough to have a ticket to see the Dragons at the ballpark, what are some of the cool anniversary things planned for the year? It all starts with the Red Celebration game presented by Wind Supply, and that is going to happen on March the 25th, and that'll be the Reds team coming to Dayton to play a prospect team within the Red system. So that's going to kick off the year for us, and again, that's March 25th, so it's coming up quickly. Once we get past that, we have a lot of things planned just to celebrate our history. We've had, again, 149 players go to the major leagues. So you'll see, if you come to a game, you'll see scoreboard videos of famous players and highlights of legendary moments in Dragons history. Example would be Billy Hamilton stole 103 bases for the Dragons in 2011. It had never happened in the 100-year history of the Reds organization at that time. He did it. There have been things along those lines that we'll reminisce with as the season goes along, and sort of remind the players and relive some of those great moments. Tom Nichols is the Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for the Dayton Dragons, and I guarantee you game 1574 will also be a sellout. Yes, it will. There's more Ohio Sports Magazine up next on the Ohio News Network.
Bex recognizes this week's Player with Heart, Addison Noss from Bowling Green High School, for her commitment and passion on the field and within the farming community.
Teamwork, goal setting, hard work, dedication, and so much more. I also love the bond that I've created with so many of my teammates. We're always pushing each other to be the best versions of ourselves, and there's a really strong sense of community there, which is great.
No matter what Addison does through her sports, activities, or FFA, she's learning, growing,
and leading.
FFA truly has opened up countless doors of opportunity for me, and it really is the main inspiration for me deciding that I want to pursue agriculture and make that my future career. My dad and my uncle are farmers, so it's always a joy to learn from them by helping out during harvest and planting seasons. Agriculture really has sparked so much passion in me, and I hope to continue to educate myself and others about the countless opportunities that the ag industry offers.
At Beck's, we are and will remain farmers at heart.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
March is Women's History Month, and we are celebrating all the incredible women who have shaped our past and who continue to pave the way for a bright future for all of us. It's important to make sure women are in the room when decisions are made about our schools and communities. Let's work together to ensure we all have a seat at the table.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Now, let's check in with Matt Andrews for this week's Ohio Broadcaster Roundtable.
Welcome back to this week's Ohio Sports Magazine. Tim Hall from our flagship affiliate here in Columbus, 97.1 The Fan is my guest. He also co-hosts Mad About Hoops. Tim, with the Buckeye Show, you have been with the Buckeye basketball team the whole way. Not in the tournament, no postseason. Just give me your thoughts on maybe what went wrong as the year progressed and where this team stands going forward.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, Matt, thanks for having me. It's still the most wonderful time of the year. I know I get a little bit disappointed, and there's a lot of Buckeye basketball fans that have reached out to me and said that the tournament's not going to feel the same with them not in it. I know that it won't, but it's still the greatest event in sports, and I'm still going to get hyped up, and I'll still be enjoying it when the first and second rounds and then the Sweet 16 Elite 8 rounds come along. Those are my two favorites leading up to the Final Four. But to answer your question, what happened with this Buckeye basketball team? You know, they were in the picture, which is why this is a disappointing result and a disappointing end for the Buckeyes, because ever since they won that home game against Maryland, you remember that, it was a highly contested game. You had to hit the Bruce Thornton, basically the buzzer beater that went high off the glass for three. And that was a really, really good Terps team at the time that really gave it to the Buckeyes in College Park before the new year. It was more than a 30-point beatdown. It was a game that the Buckeyes were trailing by 40 in. But when they paid them back and got that home court victory, they were basically in every projection you were going to find, and they had more really good opportunities to take another step or two steps forward and really seal the deal on a tournament resume. They had road games at Nebraska that could have helped. They had the big home game against Michigan. Then they had the big stumble in a home game against Northwestern, which wasn't really one that could really seal the deal for the tournament resume, but it could hurt it a lot, and that was a really ugly performance. So the fact that they were trending as a tournament team for the last 3 weeks, month of the season, and then they didn't wind up doing it, really disappointing, and I think everybody could see some of the holes in this roster, mainly from the front court, with what they didn't get in their production from Aaron Bradshaw and Sean Stewart all year long.
Tim, are you surprised they declined the crown? And for folks that don't understand, that was the only postseason option once they were left out of the big dance.
Correct. With the weirdness now in college basketball's postseason when the TV partners get involved, Fox is saying, well, hey, we don't have an NIT to have on our network, so that's great that you can do that, but we're going to use our partner conferences, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the Big East, and save 6 of those spots in a new 16-team event in late March and try to do our own thing. Now, I'm not surprised that the Buckeyes declined. I didn't even know sooner than 3 or 4 days ago that you could decline.
Right.
You can decline as long as you don't play in anything else, which is the situation we have here. And I'm not surprised because the timing of this event, it is actually a full week after the portal opens. So think about that. The portal opens, then 7 more days go by, then play picks up in this tournament that, let's be honest, everybody is mostly disappointed to be playing in. It's just some sort of consolation event. It's a first-time event. And I do think this is different from how the Buckeyes played in the NIT last year. It was Jake Diebler turning around a season that was going down the drain. So they had some positivity, and you wanted to see maybe who you could convince to stick with the program going forward as far as guys not leaving. Turns out a lot of guys did anyway, but I still agreed with them playing last year because Jake was still getting the interim tag ripped off. Now, first full offseason with your assistant coaching staff, first full offseason to really understand the roster build and the portal. I agree with not going with it. It was a disappointment not to get in the NCAA tournament. I really don't care to see him in this crown for college basketball or the college basketball crown, whatever the heck it is.
Tim Hull, our guest, he's the post-game host for the Ohio State Sports Network on Learfield. Tim, let's talk about hitting the portal in terms of not losing guys, but guys that are going to come in. That kind of is an area that they missed on this year. It's a huge home run hit for this year, isn't it?
Yes, it's an area where they've got to hit a couple of home runs, as you just said, because what they chose to do last year, a guy like Felix Okpara, who he had 2 years of development in, and let's be honest, Okpara was not a walking 10-10 guy. He was a guy that was still, you would hope, would develop and continue to get better, but he could at least, he was getting to the point where he could provide something offensively, and a great defensive rim protector, a guy that can run the floor, and a guy that could rebound. He could get a double-digit rebounding game every now and then. And he makes that choice, and he winds up at Tennessee, and he's in the tournament as a 2-seed. What a good decision that looks like for Felix. But when you go with guys like Aaron Bradshaw and Sean Stewart, who are from big-time programs, but they didn't even really get their feet wet. They're 5-star recruits. You're recruiting off of potential, which is what you do in recruiting. When you're going to get a portal player, you're hoping to find someone that's actually got some experience, some grit, some toughness, veteran players that have done something at some level of college basketball, even if it's at the mid-major level. But they didn't get that with Bradshaw and Sean Stewart. Stewart played better at the end of the season. I thought Aaron Bradshaw was a complete and utter disaster as a portal pickup, and that hurt this Buckeye team. That hurt them from going where they need to go. So I do think if you're going to pick a guy like that, he needs to be someone that you have planned to come off the bench. As you're trying to fill starting roster spots, you need to try to pick guys that have done things in college basketball.
Tim, final thing. We're into the tournament now. Give me a name or two for that second, third weekend of teams, either favorites or underdogs that you like in a big way in this tournament.
Well, I mean, once you get off of the blue bloods you're talking about, I mean, I think you look at the SEC. If I gave you the SEC or the field just to win the title, would you go? I would go with the SEC if you're giving me the entire conference because there's 14 teams in it and you get Auburn and Florida, Bama and Tennessee. Would you? Because I would take the SEC. It's
almost a 1-4 pick, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah,
but then you have a team like Houston, who obviously is actually a really, really attractive team to win it all. With what Kelvin Sampson has built over the last 3-4 years, you can make the case that it just feels like their time They're 10th in offensive efficiency, and they're the next best defensive team in the country outside of St. John's. And as much as I love St. John's, that's another team we can throw out there just with the Rick Pitino factor.
The Godfather.
The Godfather, fun team to watch. That game against Creighton in the Big East Championship was electric. Loved watching it. But I don't know if their offense is something that can hold up all the way to a title run. I also like, for double-digit seeds out there right now, look at somebody like UC San Diego just making their first, this is the first tournament they're even eligible for, and they make it into the big dance. They're a 30-win team. They're fun to watch. A lot of people are picking BYU as a sleeper team. I'm partial to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, the team they're playing in the first round. So I guess we'll see. This is the fun about the tournament. Whatever you think is going to happen, probably something else is going to.
Tim, I appreciate the time. I'll let you close the segment with the theme music, if you don't mind, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you mean a little thing? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. It just lives in my head all month.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
Goes to
Rothman and Ice has been named the best midday show in the country by our industry peers.
A winner if ever there was one.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Also, Common Man and T-Bone has been named best show at Sucking the Fan.
Buy 5, save 5 deals are back at Meijer. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more when you mix or match on items like Dannon Light and Fit Greek Yogurt 4-packs, 5-pound bags of Halo Mandarin Oranges, assorted varieties of Kraft cheese, and select 12 packs of Coca-Cola and Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. Saving money during the Meijer Buy 5, Save 5 sale makes grocery shopping a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Columbus Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious. That's you stepping up to the plate. That's you winning your kickball game. That's you taking another sip of your Do the Do.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Mastercraft has been making high-quality doors for more than 50 years. Choose from Menards' great in-stock selection or design your door your way in store and online using our free, easy-to-use design program. Visit menards.com/doors and start your design today. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Oh, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone, any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. Get ready for a cool start to your Sunday as temperatures tonight drop down into the low 30s. But other than that, very nice weather. Lots of clear skies, and we'll be back in the mid-50s by Sunday afternoon. will drop down in the mid-30s Sunday night into the 60s on Monday. Sunny skies continue into Tuesday as temperatures get up near 70. In fact, most of this week looking quite warm and pretty quiet for the weather. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination. This is ONN.
Ohio State began spring football practices earlier this week. The Buckeyes will hold 3 more weeks of practice before the annual spring game on April 12th. But don't call it a game, as Ohio State has officially dubbed the event the Spring Showcase. It'll still be held at Ohio Stadium, but look much different than a traditional football game. This offseason, several programs, including Nebraska, Southern California, and Texas, have canceled their annual spring games in favor of something else. What that something else will look like might differ across the country, as Ohio State hasn't even announced exactly what they'll be doing. But one coach at Colorado, Deion Sanders, proposed turning the spring game, traditionally held as an inter-squad scrimmage, into an NFL-style scrimmage between 2 different programs. Paul Feinbaum covers college football at large for ESPN and joined ONN affiliate WBNS-FM in Columbus earlier this week. Paul says Deion Sanders is in a position to make such a proposition only because he's committed to showing the Buffalo's spring game on national television.
He's one of the few schools that has a national TV date, and I think it does add some drama now. Can they get it through? I thought it was pretty funny when the NCAA said they can't do it. Now, tell me this, guys. Why would anybody care right now what the NCAA said about anything? They have absolutely no authority. So I would just look them in the eye and say, try to stop me.
It's so true, Paul. We've seen that happen on the basketball side for sure, a little bit in football. Speaking of spring football, Day 3 underway here in Columbus for Ohio State spring football, and it is a spectacle here. We had Bill Bender on earlier, and he talked about 150, 200 people lining the sidelines to watch Ohio State warm up and do a little couple things in spring. We can only see it from our eyes here. Is that same kind of importance and emphasis on spring football? Is it there for the fans and the media down in the SEC world?
It's not as big this year, and I think the reason is, let me state before I even answer, the SEC loves to boast. And since the SEC hasn't had much to boast about the last 2 years with Michigan and Ohio State, we are making sure everybody knows that we are the king of college basketball. 14 schools on Sunday. Of course, one has already gone out, and the tournament hasn't even started yet. But that is taking up a little more oxygen. But what is interesting about the SEC and Alabama in particular is there is a great deal of chatter from my end about Julian Sayon and what he's going to do at Ohio State. Because while Caleb Downs got the headlines in the aftermath of Nick Saban leaving, a lot of people I know in Tuscaloosa felt like maybe the biggest defection was Sayon, because he probably could have been avoided. There was a lot of chatter about Kalen DeBoer flat out blowing it. There's a book called The Price that came out last summer that detailed the situation where Sayon went in to meet with DeBoer, and DeBoer mispronounced his name, and that was really it. So that is probably the most interest from at least a number of pit places down here. Georgia is also a very big situation, because for really 3 or 4 years, Georgia has almost owned the sport the way Alabama had previously under Saban. And this week you get a lot of negativity coming out of Kirby Smart, where he's blasting his freshmen, saying they're out of shape, which I asked the question, whose fault is that? Doesn't he have a conditioning coach?
Yeah, Paul, it's really interesting when you hear, even Ryan Day talked about coming off the field for the first practice. He's like, well, gosh, we might not win a game this year. And of course, he's doing a lot of that tongue-in-cheek. But when you look at a lot of the teams that prognosticators have as their top 5 way too early in the college football season, a lot of them are going to be starting a new quarterback. Is that something where teams every single year are trying to figure out what to do with the quarterback? Because you talk about Julian Sayin popping into the portal and then popping into Columbus, or you talk about last year with Ohio State picking up Will Howard out of the transfer portal. Notre Dame did the same thing. How feasible is that to just year after year turning over the quarterback spot?
It's a real problem, and as you go around the country, the schools that have experience are the ones where there is the most confidence. Now, it doesn't always translate. To me, when the season begins. I suspect the number 1 and 2 teams in the country are going to be playing in Columbus, and they both have new quarterbacks. Now, the question is, do you really call Arch Manning a new quarterback? I mean, he has been in Texas for a couple of years, and there's probably never been a more prepared quarterback to ever come in as a starter than him. He could have left Texas last year and I dare say started almost anywhere in the country.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh, no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
When you're on the go, every minute of the day counts. Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup helps you make the most of every second. Get all your weekly shopping online, quickly and easily, from wherever you are, whenever you want. Then have your Meijer order delivered to your home, or swing by and pick it up when you're out and about. Whatever works best for your schedule. The good life is in reach with Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, get this. If my scale had feelings, I think it'd be filing a restraining order. I am down now 63 pounds in just 14 weeks. You do the math on that, that's about 4.5 pounds every single week. Last week alone, another 4.2, poof, gone. The fat just keeps melting off, and let me tell you, I really owe 99% of this to my coach, Natalie. She's not just helping me lose weight, she's out here engineering it, tweaking my plan each week, making sure I don't miss a snack, telling me to add more butter. Yep, heard that right. Well, olive oil in there too, that's pretty good, and basically being the therapist we all need when making a gigantic life change. Wouldn't you say 63 pounds is a big 180? This is what Awaken 180 brings. Guidance, support, and a plan that actually works. There's no guesswork, there's no starvation, no magic potions, just real results week after week, brick by brick. If you're tired of hoping the weight will come off, get with Awaken 180 and know that it will. 63 pounds down, how much do you want to lose? You can start today at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black-Jacques. Jacques, where are you today?
In Columbus, how?
You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to bad moons.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check?
Oui.
Yes, of course. A sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
If you're like most Americans, you've racked up tens of thousands in credit card debt. You're stuck with 20% interest fees, and even the monthly payments, well, they're hard to make. It's insane. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. The good news is that there is a way out. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending. They specialize in fast, easy access to the equity in your home. Most homeowners have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their home equity. That's your money. AFLcash.com can get it out for you with zero junk fees and zero hassle. You can pay off all those credit cards in just a matter of days. Pay off your car loans too. Cut your monthly expenses by $800 or even $900. I'm telling you, the relief you need, well, it's right there at your fingertips. AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Break out of the credit card debt prison with AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Let's catch up on the Cincinnati Bengals with our Paul Keels.
We get a chance to talk with Jeff Hobson from Bengals.com, and Butch, certainly with the press conference having occurred this week with the contract signings for both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, it reminded me of the old song, Love is in the Air, when you think about that press conference. That's how it had to feel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, Keels, it was something. It was, that had never been done here, and I don't think I don't know if it's happened anywhere except maybe Colfax and Drysdale, right? Who had a deal, not that they were going to hold out, but I guess we're going to have some people Google that, right? That's dating me. But I think, they didn't hold out or anything like that, but they had the same agent, Rocky Arsenault. And, the Bengals have never been faced with anything like that, trying to get two deals done with the same agent. Came together, but you can, tell that they've got both guys wanted to be here. I think Joe Burrow, the quarterback, was a big part of that. But, I also think they like each other, which is in this age of the NFL diva wide receiver rooms. That's pretty unique, too.
Yeah, Butch, I guess we can't undersell the fact that, as you said, the same agent for both wide receivers, but also the influence of Joe Burrow in all of this.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, he stepped out there in front, it was after the Dallas game. Every Cincinnati school kid knows when he started talking about signing T. Higgins, which was it was right after the Dallas game, the Monday night game, that actually, ironically, Chase won with 61 seconds left on a 40-yard play. And that's kind of when it started. And I think, it's not like Joe did the deal. I mean, he wasn't down here, banging it out. That was Katie Blackburn and Duke Tobin, and they had to get it done. And, I think they, obviously, Burrow wanted to get it done, but, so did Zach Taylor. So did the Bengals. They wanted to get it done, too. I think Mike Brown is also a factor in that as well. So it's not like Joe's the only guy in the building that wanted him. Clearly, he was important, and I think like Joe said yesterday. He told me yesterday that and I agree with him here. He said, I think we all were pretty confident they were going to get it done with Jamar, but to be able to get T, he said, for that to get done, clearly that the management and ownership had to do some things, and they did them.
Butch, follow me if you think this is a little bit of a thought to throw into this. What you saw when T. Higgins wasn't playing this past season, could that have been I won't say a factor, but could that have been an element?
It's interesting, Keels, though, because they won they won games that he didn't play. And, they had Gesicki step in and do a little bit of what he did, and they had, Jamar moved around a lot. But to me, it wasn't so much the games that he didn't play. It was the games that he did play that really, because he's a big game player. I mean, he comes up big at the biggest games, 103 in the Super Bowl. He had a 100-yard game in the Super Bowl, had 103 yards in a championship game. And, we saw what he did against Denver, career-high 3 touchdowns when they absolutely had the win, won in overtime. 2 years before that, we saw the third and long touchdown from Jake Browning when they were still in the hunt for the playoffs, how he leaped up and made this swinging one-handed catch and stretched the ball over the pylon like in a backhanded move. I mean, you can remember these plays in your mind, and they were not only great plays, but they came when they needed them most. So to me, it's, I think, just everybody, particularly that game against Denver, I think, when you went into the off season like that, thinking it might be his last game, and he was so important in that game. I think that, that he's been big in December. He was big this December, and I think, that's kind of the field you went into the off season.
Jeff Hobson, the Emperor of Bengals.com. Butch, we always appreciate your insight.
Kielzo, you're so kind. Enjoy that much well-deserved off-season.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
Bex recognizes this week's Player with Heart, Addison Noss from Bowling Green High School, for her commitment and passion on the field and within the farming community.
Teamwork, goal setting, hard work, dedication, and so much more. I also love the bond that I've created with so many of my teammates. We're always pushing each other to be the best versions of ourselves, and there's a really strong sense of community there, which is great.
No matter what Addison does through her sports, activities, or FFA, she's learning, growing, and leading.
FFA truly has opened up countless doors of opportunity for me, and it really is the main inspiration for me deciding that I want to pursue agriculture and make that my future career. My dad and my uncle are farmers, so it's always a joy to learn from them by helping out during harvest and planting seasons. Agriculture really has sparked so much passion in me, and I hope to continue to educate myself and others about the countless opportunities that the ag industry offers.
At Beck's, we are and will remain farmers at heart.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Springtime is here, and you know what that means. It's time for Mulch Madness. Did you know that too much mulch is bad for trees and shrubs? 2 inches of mulch is plenty. Any more and you risk causing roots to grow up and around trunks, which increases unhealthy stress, shortens tree life, and even keeps moisture from getting down to tree roots. To find out more about Mulch Madness or to find a certified arborist near you, visit treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton. ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Now let's get some highlights from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Here's producer Bodie Wells to set the scene.
Thanks, Jay. On the show this week, the guys chatted about whether or not the Cleveland Browns could draft Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart.
I mean, I see it myself. I saw it myself this year when I watched Ole Miss play. You know, I especially like the job that he did in the bowl game against a really talented Northwestern defense, and that's the strength of their team. They don't have much offense. But when he was healthy this year, I really did like his game. I thought he would be a higher-rated prospect because of his talent and his ability, but I do think the injuries were a little bit of a concern. I think that the offense that he plays in, people don't really take Lane Kiffin's offense all that serious when it comes to like getting quarterbacks ready for the next level. So I think that's a little bit of a concern among NFL people and NFL circles. However, I do think there are traits there that lead you to believe this kid has a chance to do things, special things in this league. So I'm all about, if the Browns have interest in this guy, can they get him? It obviously wouldn't be at number 2, I don't believe, but certainly could be an option.
You never know. Daniel Jones, not that you want to use that as a good
example. 8? He went like 8.
Went top 10, right?
Top 10, something like that.
Even though nobody thought he would be.
6, excuse me.
Go ahead, Jason. What do you think?
He said Baker, and I gasped a little when he said the comp is Baker. I was like, in this town, how's that going to play around here?
Yeah.
I'm curious, Dustin, when you look at Jackson playing against the SEC versus Shedeur playing against the Big 12, how much do you have to factor that into any sort of evaluation?
Listen, Big 12's not what Big 12 was when it was, Baylor going up and down the field and like Oklahoma. It's not like Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Big 12. Yeah. The defense has been improved in that conference. The conference is obviously improved because they added new pieces this year as well. So I would say SEC versus Big 12. Not much difference, I would say, unless you're just an old head that thinks the SEC football is everything, and you play in the SEC like it's just like the NFL. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I did 3 SEC games this year, calling SEC games. The talent's undeniable. But there's also a lot of talent in the Big 12 as well, and I think that Shedeur had to go through a lot with that offensive line that they had. You know, he didn't have a ton of protection. He was beaten up at times. Facing pressure in college isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, sometimes that prepares you for the league because, like, hey, you play in an offense where you've got all day to throw. You could sit back there, and teams don't play man coverage. The zone is, you know, allows for a lot of wide open windows where teams can just kind of pick you apart. Well, it gets a little different, a little tighter once you get to the league. So
to catch the full breakdown, just search for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and enjoy their daily content covering all things Cleveland sports. We'll be back to wrap up this week's Ohio Sports Magazine show here on the Ohio News Network.
Common Man and T-Bone.
That's NASA's slogan. What's the point without thrusting? We need thrust to get up there. What's the point without thrusting?
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jerry.
You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 are free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Now at Menards, save big money on everything for your next project. Shop Menards' huge selection of concrete, mortar, and cement. Concrete mix is great for patios, walkways, installing posts, and more. General purpose concrete mix is on sale and ready to take home today. View our entire selection of concrete mix and supplies in store and on Menards.com. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for plenty more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone, any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Big thank yous to Tom Nichols and Parker Testa for being with us this week on Ohio Sports Magazine. Thanks to all of our Locked On podcast contributors this week as well. For Bodie Wells, Eric Reeser, and Paul Keels, I'm Jay Fox. Thanks for listening to Ohio Sports Magazine. Join us next week right here on the Ohio News